Hi everyone, it's Karen here and welcome back to my channel. I want to apologize for being away for so long. I haven't posted a lot of videos. I've just been really busy, but I'm happy to be back with a new project created for a mixed media YouTube hop that I'm doing with a few of my friends. This hop is being sponsored by some amazing companies. And although we're not a lot of people during the hop, which is nice, there is some amazing prizes. I'm also sponsoring a prize, and you can stay till the end of the video to see how you can win it. All of us use the same mood board to get inspired, and it's just a beautiful mood board that is perfect for this project. And I got really inspired by the different images on this project, and I wanted to create an art journaling page. One of the things that inspired me the most were the colors, and I knew that I wanted to combine them with different materials. The first thing I did is I took my disc-bound art journal and took the pages out of it so I could easily work on it on a flat surface. I love doing this because I love using stencils and pastes on my art journal pages, and I want to make sure that they don't warp and I'm able to put the stencil straight. So this was really easy, and I love this disc bound journal from Joggles, and I use this a lot for my art journaling. I use this Mandala stencil and use the new Icing paste from Finnabair. This is the Fire Ruby color, and just added some beautiful pattern to the background. I added only half of the mandala on one side, and then I used the other half to add to the other side of the double spread of my art journal. I really got inspired by this beautiful burgundy color that was in the mood board, and I thought that it would be perfect to create a frosty scene. Usually I create a frosty scene by using blues and whites, but I thought that to add a little bit of this color would make it look as if there's a little bit of red peeking through, almost as if some of the spring and summer leftover is still there. Once I was done the second side and added all the paste, I heat set everything to make sure that it's really dry before I add the next layer. I took a second stencil from Joggles, and I can't remember the name of this one, but I will definitely list all the products below. And then I took some Glimmer paste from Nuvo, and I used it to create another pattern on the background. I really wanted to use some glimmery paste because I wanted it to look as glimmery snow peeking through the branches. So I thought this would be perfect for that because it wouldn't be too strong, but it would really make everything stand out. And it's really hard to tell in the pictures, but the page is literally glistening. It's really, really nice. And all I did is just add a little bit of this pattern all along so it would peek underneath everything else and would look like glistening snow. Of course, I did this to both sides of the page because I was doing a double spread layout. And then I heat set everything really well. Once it was dry really well, and I tried to heat set it a lot to make sure that when I add the Marabu sprays, it will not muck it up. I took two colors from the Marabu sprays, the mint and the turquoise, and I started spraying them in the background. Actually, first I sprayed a little bit of water, and then I took the sprays and I started adding it to the edges of my page. I started with the light turquoise one, and then I added the mint, which is a little bit of a greenish color. I wanted them to mix with each other because I really wanted it to look like the color in the mood board. I sprayed it with water first because I really wanted everything to kind of drip down the page in between all the textures, not only the mandala texture, but also the glistening texture that I had added with the Glimmer paste. And of course, when you add a lot of water, it really makes a mess. And I do like this, but if you don't want to have it such a messy way, you can always add it with a paintbrush. I did this, of course, to both sides. I really liked that it was a little bit darker on one side, so I kept on adding in different areas to make sure that the colors match up on both sides. And I kept on playing around, adding and removing ink to make sure that I like it. and I wanted to really match the color to the background of the mood board because I really like how those two colors look together. And since I wanted it to look so much like the mood board, I ended up adding a little bit of another type of blue. That way it would really make it look more teal colored. So by mixing all these colors together and letting it drip down the page, it really made it look like the mood board itself. And I love combining the colors because it really makes everything look so cool. So adding different shades of blues and teals really helps the page to create dimension and give it that really nice dripping effect. Since it had so much ink on it, I knew it would really have to take a long time to dry because I needed this to be dry really, really well. I took some Joggles art parts, these are birds, that I wanted to include in my journal. These are called art parts and they're made out of watercolor paper, the same watercolor paper that is used in the background. And what I wanted to do is that I wanted to include them in the background. Looking back, I wish I would have put them facing each other. I don't know why I had put the birds facing outward. And it looks good while it doesn't have any paint on it, but once I added the paint, the birds were kind of looking away from each other. They kind of looked angry at each other, but it doesn't really matter. It still gave a really good effect. I took some of the Prima Finnabair paper texture paste, which is one of my favorite pastes to use, not only for the winter scenes, but for basically anything. And what I did is I used the paste to create these two branches coming out of the edge of the paper. So I wanted the birds to kind of stand on top of a branch. So what I did is I used a paintbrush and created two branches coming out of the edge of the paper that looked as if they had frosty snow on it. So that made it look like a winter scene because I really wanted to create a really nice wintry scene that looks like as if the snow had just fallen on the ground and the birds were basically looking for berries on top of the branches. It really looked like berries. I looked like mandala, red mandala pattern, and it made it look like berries to me. So I really felt as if the birds were looking for really nice berries around the trees. So I continued adding the branches, and once I finished adding the branches, I used the same paste to add some more frosty snow on the edges of the journal. I went all the way around, and when I reached the top, I started creating some icicles coming out of the top of the journal. It was a really cool idea that I thought of last minute where I could create little icicles that look like as if snow is falling and is accumulating on top of the trees. So I thought that was really cute and I decided to do this on both sides and kind of unify everything, unify the theme to everything else. I really love how these icicles came about, and it really looks like a frosty scene for these little birds, and I'm sure they're really cold, but you know what? They have good feathers, so it warms them up. And I really love how this paper texture created the scenery for me. And of course, I'm linking that below as well. Of course, I heat set this really well because that paste took a little bit longer to dry. But that's okay because I was going to work on my birds. I took the little birds and using the same stencil I had used with the Glimmer paste, I took it again and added a little bit of Glimmer to the body of each of the birds. I figured it would be like little lines on top of the birds because birds have these markings from the feathers. So this would be as if it was glimmering feathers because I'm sure they have a little bit of that icy, frosty snow on top of their feathers that if it gets wet, they probably freeze. I'm guessing a lot of the birds tend to go south for the winter, so they might not actually be in this frosty wonderland, but I just figured that if they would have been, they would have a little bit of that glistening snow on top of their feathers. So that's why I added this pattern on each bird. I heat set the paste, and then I took some gold spray. This is a mixture of gold mica and water, and I sprayed the birds on their bodies. Of course, the paste was very dry, otherwise it would have gotten really messy. Then I took some black Marabu spray and added 1 drop to each of the birds. As soon as I put the drop onto the bird, it actually spread everywhere, and it created a really cool shadow for the birds. It was a little bit too dark for me, so I played back and forth with the gold and the black to make sure that the birds are a little bit more golden, because the bird in the actual mood board was of a golden orange color, so I wanted to kind of mimic that as well. I heat set the black, and then I went back and added some more gold to make sure that they're not so dark. Once they were fully dried, I took a black marker and added some markings onto the birds and also outlined their bodies. I really wanted to make them look a little bit more realistic. I'm not the best drawer, but I figured that if I added a little bit of black and painted their legs and the eye and some markings on the body, it would make it look a little bit more realistic. Then I took back my pages and I added the 3 birds and glued them with some 3D matte gel. You can also use soft gel for this, or any glue or gel that you want. And all I did is glue them to the background. Once the birds were glued, I ended up adding a few more finishing touches to the background. I took the Glimmer paste again, and using my finger added a little bit of the Glimmer to the white snow. So that made the white paste glimmer and glisten in the background, and it kind of made it look more realistic like snow. I also took the gold spray and added a few splatters in the background to make sure that it matches the birds. I figured to have a few golden splatters would give a beautiful touch to the background. Finally, I took some Satin Crystals Prima gemstones and added them to the background, especially at the edges of the branches, to make it look like more berries were gathered at the edge of each twig. So I thought it would be a cute finishing touch. I mean, I didn't have to add these, but I thought they looked really nice, and because they're very shiny, they look really nice. They look like little berries at the end of each branch. Finally, I went ahead and added a small title with some old stickers that I had from long time ago. And I thought this was the perfect title because it said First Snow. And all I did is take some gel and sealed it to the background. That way it would not come off. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked my video, please give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends on social media. We have a lot of amazing sponsors that are giving away some amazing prizes. Hop starts on December 1st and ends on December 15th, with the winners announced on December 17th. I also have a giveaway, and I'm giving away a mixed media prize pack. It's going to be a surprise, but it's a pretty good prize pack, and all you have to do is just subscribe to my channel and leave a comment below, and I will pick a winner on December 18th and announce it as well on the 19th. I hope you liked my video, and here is the next video to hop along. Have an amazing day. Bye!